Hello, massage nerds. Today I'm going to be talking about things that you didn't learn in school and wish you had. Somebody asked me that the other day, and I thought, hey, that's a good video to do, because if you're still in school, pay attention to some of these areas depending on what field you're going to go into. For me, 32 years ago, I did not know I was going to be self-employed for 32 years. So if we had had a business class, I probably don't remember, but I wish I knew more about a business plan, how to lay that out, how to prepare for retirement, insurance. Those are some of the things that I knew nothing about. I learned as I went along, because when I graduated, I was a single mom with kids, and I gave myself no option to fail. So I just kept going, I just kept going forward, learning as I went along, how to budget, how to plan for your overhead. And, so that was a little difficult. So please, if you're still in school, pay attention to the business plan, especially if you plan to be a self-employed massage therapist. Another thing is, like, now we have a myriad of resources. We have YouTube, we have Google, we have your iPhones. When I was in school, all we had was our books, which were wonderful because I was very fortunate to have Trail Guide to the Body, which, like I've said before, that's my Bible. And what I tell the students is Google is your new mother. You can ask her anything. She's at the touch of your fingertips, just to, Google anything. There's no excuse, guys, for not learning. You can't blame it on your instructor. You can't say, well, I didn't learn that, because we must make the initiative to learn ourselves. Like in Texas, we only have 500 hours to teach, the massage therapy course. So, we're limited compared to somebody like New York that has 1,200 hours. They have a lot more classroom hours compared to, to us here in Texas. So there's really no excuse for us not to learn, and for you guys not to, to carry it on and learn more, because really knowledge is available to you. So just look for it and ask Google. Another thing that I wish I had learned was a difference between Swedish, deep tissue, neuromuscular. I know that we teach you different modalities in school, but probably just like a little introduction. And actually, one of my recent students asked me that. She goes, what's the difference, between Swedish and, deep tissue? She's working at a spa and she wasn't sure. So those things is like, we teach you the basics, which is Swedish massage. Any other modality that you want to learn, you usually have to take, certification hours for it. Like I took, I've taken well over 1,000 hours just in continuing education. They're very expensive nowadays. Like, the neuromuscular training that I got, I went through that course twice, and to me, that's very specific work. It doesn't mean deep tissue. Neuromuscular is very specific work where you learn to treat trigger points. You learn more about that's how I learned, really. That's when I fell in love with the muscles. That's when I that's it. Once I found neuromuscular, I said, this is it. This is it for me. I learned, about origins, insertions, and the beauty of the neuromuscular junction, how they receive messages, how you can release, how you can overstimulate the nervous system. So deep pressure is really not where it's at, guys. This deep tissue, I don't even know why they call it deep tissue. I remember reading an article a while back that deep tissue was somebody in a spa trying to come up with a menu, of things that they would do in their spa, and they put deep tissue there. But deep tissue is really not recommended. It depends what they're doing with it, because if they're going really deep to the past level of comfort of the client, then that's not what you want to do. Neuromuscular is more about being specific and never hurting your client, and not engaging the nervous system to the point where it starts, guarding itself and the muscle won't release, because relaxation comes from the nervous system. The muscles relax because they receive a message from the nervous system. So you've got to be very aware of that, So that's just one of the differences that I wish I had learned. I don't know if you are learning that in school, but remember, Swedish are just the basics. Another thing I wish I had learned was pathology, a little bit more about pathology, and I really don't remember learning this in school at all. And if I did, maybe I was out that day or those days because I don't remember pathologies, contraindications. Now the books are really good at including that, and we have, so many hours of pathology. Every course has a certain amount of pathology hours, which are very important. Make sure you're paying attention in class. Make sure you're doing your homework, during that time. And because you're going to get clients. I mean, every time I have a new client, they always list either medications or something. People that are coming for massage, guys, are people that are coming because there's something wrong with them. And you got to be able to know, like if they're on blood thinners. I learned the hard way with that one. I had a client, like 30 years ago. I was brand new out of school, and I remember him filling out the medical history, but he did not list that he was taking Coumadin, and that's a blood thinner. And I didn't think to ask him. Since that experience, I learned to ask every new client, are you taking any blood thinners? Even baby aspirin's a blood thinner. Because after I worked on him, he was so bruised, and my heart broke because I really didn't know enough at the time, and I've learned my lesson. So make sure that you pay attention to pathologies and contraindications. Next, I wish I would have learned a little bit about scope of practice and healthy boundaries, because I see this more and more of a struggle for students nowadays. They really don't know enough about scope of practice, and they don't set healthy boundaries with clients. They're not very good at it. Like even myself, guys, I'm a very friendly, outgoing person, and I have a tendency to want to talk to my clients. And I didn't learn at the beginning, on to really listen and not talk about myself. You don't want to, put too much of your information out there. The time that your client comes in is about them, not about you venting or about you talking. And you want to keep those healthy boundaries. It's very, very important, guys, for you to keep healthy boundaries with your clients so that you never trespass those boundaries. And it's part of self-care. And I'll tell you why. Vicarious trauma is real. It's out there. I remember one of the guest speakers that I asked to come speak with the students was a counselor. She had a master's degree. Well, she has a master's degree in counseling, and she was going to talk about vicarious trauma. And I remember somebody said, well, what does that have to do with massage? It's like, why is she bringing in somebody to talk to the students about this? Because it doesn't relate to massage, when in fact, it has everything to do with massage. Vicarious trauma is how it affects you, even though it's a secondhand information, because we are too empathetic, because our boundaries are not very well defined. We get affected. It affects us. We get sad. I know that when I was working on a lot of clients that had cancer or were still going through chemo or radiation, that became really difficult for me. It was hard for me to turn off once I got home. It was difficult for me. I almost wanted to cry with them, while they were telling me. And that's not what you want to do. You really need to keep that in check. So vicarious trauma is very real, very important. And that's one of the things I wish I had learned in school, about really not just taking care of myself physically, but also mentally and spiritually. Self-care is very important, guys. I know that I learned Tai Chi when I went to school. That's when I fell in love with Tai Chi, actually. It got introduced to me when I was in massage school. Then I searched for my own Sifu back in El Paso. And lo and behold, I found him. And that was just, that's what kept me really balanced and taking care of myself. I'm always very surprised at how many massage therapists do not receive a massage regularly. That I don't understand, guys. I really don't. Even when I traveled, I used to travel a lot more than I do now, and I would just call up people, from the phone book, or back then we had phone books, but you can research online, like massage therapists near your area, and I would just call them up and say, hey, I'm here in town for a couple of weeks. I do this type of massage. Would you be interested in trading? Most of them were really glad to do that. They really were. And you're going, don't go to somebody's house, obviously, but if they have a massage, a massage establishment, then you can go there and check them out. Or if you're at home, please trade with other massage therapists. Like I said, there's no excuse. We have got to walk the talk. We've got to, if we're teaching about self-care and massage therapy, you've got to take care of yourself. And I can guarantee you'll remember again, oh, that's why I get massages. It'll remind you again, because it'll make you feel good and it'll remind you of what you're doing for your clients. So that's very important. So those are some of the things that I really wish I had learned in school. I hope these help you. These are nice tips. If you're still in school, pay attention. And if not, ask Google. And if not, do some research. So there's no excuse, guys, not to know something that you're passionate about, not to, to be able to be a well-rounded, massage therapist by taking care of self-care. Physically, mentally, spiritually, by staying within your scope of practice. By the way, I have a video that's very good on scope of practice, and it doesn't get very much attention. That's one of the videos that has the least views, and it's like one of the most important ones, the, scope of practice. Another one that I wish I had learned, just to, recap, is pathologies and contraindications, the differences between different modalities and Swedish, and how to be resourceful, how to use Google, YouTube, your iPhone, and to pay attention and have a good business plan. Have a plan as to what you're going to do after you graduate. Oh, and I almost forgot. I'm going to include the links for this little book. It's really very good book. It's by Diane Mitkowski, and the Massage Therapy Guidebook. She does have a little bit of a business plan in here. If you're going to be self-employed, how to run your own massage therapy establishment. There's great tips in here. And another one that, like I said, and no offense, guys, I don't mean to offend anybody. I try to be, when I say this is my Bible, I mean, my Bible in massage therapy, guys. Don't take it out of hand. Don't go off the subject with this. But these two books are phenomenal. Whoops. The Trail Guide to the Body and the Trail Guide to the Body, guidebook too. So these are fantastic. I mean, this is where I get most of my information. And I've mentioned this before on my videos. When I look at the drawings, when I'm drawing the muscles, I use two resources, and would you believe I have found mistakes? There's sometimes that, this one's better than the massage therapy book. But anyway, this is what I turn to. The links will be included below if you want to get them. But I just wanted to recap a little bit and do something different for those of you that are interested in finding out, some of the things that will help you in the future. So until the next time, create a great day.